It's just weird to me to imagine like I turn on the TV, right, to watch a Kings game and you see a lineup of Westbrook, Sabonis, Levine, and DeRozan out there all at once. I don't know why, but if I saw that on my TV, I would get uncomfortable. It just looks uncomfortable. It's like wearing jeans to the gym. That's how I would feel if I was seeing that on the TV. I'd feel like I'd have jeans on at the gym. But yeah, I just don't like it.
GMLB family, welcome back to Good Morning Liz Basketball. I am your host, Vic. I am filling in for Miles. He has the suds today. On my right is the podcast Equilibrium and viral Dunkin' barista, Daniel. How we doing today?
We're doing good, y'all. We had to make a last minute adjustment, but we're here. The Audible is working.
Below me is Big Macedonia and GMLB's Chief of Security from the island of relevancy, Main Event Kev. What's up, man?
I wasn't expecting you to copy and paste the intros that Mike had said in. That was very surprising.
Yeah, it was a thoughtful gesture. Thought the fans, they can't miss out. And if there's someone new, gotta have them expect what's in the future. But yeah, today on the docket we got Westbrook is rumored to sign with the Kings. The Knicks are interested in signing Malik Beasley after he was cleared of gambling. 76ers and Nuggets have expressed interest in acquiring Anfernee Simons in a trade. But we're gonna get ahead and started with Westbrook and the Kings. So Russell Westbrook is still remaining free agent, hasn't signed to a team this offseason. There's a possibility he actually won't even sign to a team this season, and some sources are saying this could be his final season. Many reports are saying he wants to stay close to home. Sacramento has been a favorite to land him. Kings are looking to trade Malik Monk to open a roster spot for Westbrook, which was previously rumored. But when I was doing research for this, and actually when we planned this podcast, that was the rumor. But today it came out that Sacramento actually wants to keep Malik Monk and thinks he's going to be a key part of their future. So, what do you guys think the Kings are doing? Like, what is their move here with trying to get Westbrook on the team? And now that we know that Malik Monk is not going to be traded.
Well, I don't know who they're going to trade for if they still want Westbrook, considering the guards are pretty slim on this team. I'm not sure. I'm not sure many teams want Isaiah Stevens as one of their guards, but it's pretty clear that they're all in with this team. Contrary to my popular belief from the past few episodes on my dig at the Kings in our Western Conference rankings. Yeah, it seems like they're all in. They like this squad. Most don't. I don't. I can say that. But yeah, it seems like they're all in, and it doesn't really sound like they have a direction. I don't really see them being able to make a whole lot of moves by the trade deadline or until the season starts. My prediction was that either Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan was going to get moved by the deadline, but recent news and everything you just said, Vic, I don't really think that's happening. I think they're going to ride it out, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Nuggets situation from last year where like picking up Westbrook is kind of just like you're picking up something that is a positive no matter how you look at it. Because you don't have to necessarily play him. You don't have to necessarily say, oh, this is, anything crazy, but he's there if you need him, and he's a pretty good player to have if you need him. We saw last year, when the Nuggets needed him to step up, he did, and they played well up until, well, they played well even in the playoffs. But yeah, I don't see too many negatives on it, but it definitely raises some questions as to like you said, Kevin. I mean, I guess it's just like why but it's always going to be like that when it
It's
comes to
just
Westbrook.
it's just weird to me to imagine like I turn on the TV, right, to watch a Kings game and you see a lineup of Westbrook, Sabonis, Levine, and DeRozan out there all at once. I don't know why, but if I saw that on my TV, I would get uncomfortable. It just looks uncomfortable. It's like wearing jeans to the gym. That's how I would feel if I was seeing that on the TV. I'd feel like I'd have jeans on at the gym. But yeah, I just don't like it. there's going to be no spacing with that lineup. There's too many mid-range merchants, and then whatever Westbrook does. So I don't know. I want to hear Mr. Host's opinion here. He's staying quiet now. He's
Dude,
brand new.
Speaking of jeans at the gym, I've seen that honestly a little bit too much in the past couple of months. Maybe like the Kings, they like uncomfortable fits. And I mean, getting Westbrook on the team, I don't think it's gonna do much for them. Maybe just some boosted ticket sales and maybe giving him a final farewell for the NBA because I've seen sources say that this could be his last season in the NBA. Would I like to see that? No. It would be cool to see maybe Westbrook try to get a ring somewhere. I honestly don't know why he even wanted to leave Denver. I get he wants to be close to home, but just seeing how the situation last year, how he kind of, after so many teams took the chance on him and he didn't live up to expectations, it seems like he really found a home in Denver. I don't see why I don't get the understanding why he wants to leave Denver in the first place.
Why not?
Yeah.
What do
Just
you mean?
kidding. I'm just kidding. That's just his catchphrase.
Oh,
I like to use it whenever, you know, whenever that kind of stuff comes up. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, speaking of his catchphrase, haven't seen that on a T-shirt in a while. But as far as Denver, like he had the 2-year deal worth $6 million, so he's getting $3 million a year. Not quite a vet minimum, but basically right there. And then yeah, he had that player option after his first year, and he left. I don't know if like not the Kings, if Denver kind of just came to him and said like, "Hey, here's our plans for the offseason. This is what we want to do. You can be a part of it, but we don't know how much you're going to be on the floor, this and that." So kind of don't know the details behind the scenes because that was probably one of his better chances that he had to win a championship before he retires. You know, he's on the wrong end of 30 now, heading into this season, and it was
Is
probably the best he's ever played in the past couple of years. But like I said, they probably could have and like wanted to have him around, but probably just didn't fit the new plan and didn't see it
is
through.
is there any possibility that it had anything to do with money? Like he was asking for more than they were willing to give up, Denver
I
at
sure
least?
hope not.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's just I mean I saw sources say that he wanted to be close to home and Sacramento was the place that he was looking at. He tried the Lakers, he tried the Clippers. I think he's trying to hit the all four teams in LA. Maybe. Maybe that's part of it. But yeah, he just wanted to be close to home with Sacramento.
Did you guys see the clip of him on the boat getting shots up on a yacht?
I did, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know how you're gonna bring someone like that back to basketball, but go ahead, Kev.
I was gonna say I'm surprised the dude didn't catch him on a miss because if he did, then that video would have been just all over Instagram and Twitter and the news sites. So I was like, man, he's lucky he made that shot. The internet would have had a little bit too much fun with that. But like I mentioned, the man's he's reaching the twilight years of his career. I think the last year with Denver was probably like the most we can see him contribute, possibly the best that he can do. And he was good for them. You know, he was unpredictable, but that's why you love him. That's why he's good for your team. Sometimes not so good, but we know that. But I don't know. I'd like to see him end up on a team. I'd hate for him to like not get picked up and then forcefully have to retire because no one picked him up or no deal could be reached. So I'd like to see him play another year or two.
Yeah, and do you think that if he gets signed to the Kings, he's going to be coming off the bench, or do you think he's going to be starting over Malik Monk? Because right now the projected starter is going to be Malik Monk.
Yeah, well, I think he would probably come off the bench because they did pick up Dennis Schroeder too.
Oh
And
yeah.
reports I was seeing a couple of days ago was their envision was to trade Malik Monk, open up a spot for Westbrook, probably start Keon Ellis at the 2, and then have Westbrook come off the bench and be the 6 man and a backup point guard for Dennis Schroeder.
So then would Keegan Murray move to the bench and DeRozan at the 4?
So I imagine it would probably be so. Let's say they got rid of Malik Monk, traded him. So that would make them have Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and then Sabonis. So I think Keegan Murray would still start.
Okay. I thought you meant like I thought you said Dennis Schroeder and Keanu Ellis starting. So that's why I thought Levine would go there, and then also DeRozan.
Honestly, I'm not sure how they would do that lineup. See, if they were smart, they would see what they could get for Zach LaVine right now. Because I don't think they're going to be able to complete a trade for DeMar DeRozan in this point in his life. I think Zach LaVine's still youthful, can still like offer a lot of scoring to a lot of teams out there. So if they were smart, I would see what they can get for like maybe even like a Zach LaVine Malik Monk package, or like a Zach LaVine and Keon Ellis package, and just like play around with it a little bit more, as opposed to let's get rid of this guy we just paid not too long ago and bring in Westbrook to back up Dennis Schroeder. That's not a super stacked point guard room, and I certainly wouldn't want to have that for my franchise.
No, definitely not. But
Hmm.
I the thing about the Kings is they really haven't been getting better. I feel like after the like the beam year, they just have been going downhill, snowball fast. Like this has just been just some wild years for the Kings, and probably a sad time to be a Kings fan. Um, do you think there's any hope on this roster for a Kings fan? Like anything that they should look forward to next season?
Oh, that's that's so tough to say. Looking forward to next season, I'd probably say no. What they should look forward to is the trade deadline, because I feel like what that's probably the most exciting things of the season will happen is around that time, anticipating that they make some trades. And kind of like what you said about the Kings, like their fall off kind of sucked. I hate to say fall off because in 2022 they only finished with 30 wins. In the very next season, they ended up with 48. So an 18 game increase on your win total is just insane. This year they played the Warriors as well. Then right after 24 season finished with 2 less wins, and then last season 6 less wins. So they're definitely moving in the wrong direction, and they need to do something, and they need to do it fast. I felt like just the team, well, obviously the team they had in 2023 was so far better than the one they have now. It was a lot better coached, it was a lot better constructed, and they're far from that right now. I don't really, no one's timeline on this team really matches up with the next like 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing that as an NBA fan, the witness is when the timelines don't match up on the team and the team doesn't have really a direction at all. That is probably the toughest spot to be in.
Where did we rank them uh in the West? Do you guys remember?
I think we had the Jazz 15th, 14th Pelicans, 13th was
I
So
think
they
13th.
missed the we had them missing the plan.
I believe so, yeah. They were either
Yeah,
13th or 12th.
because at
Okay.
13th, I believe we had Portland.
Okay. Did this tra like change anything for us? I mean, it didn't really for me, but
No.
I wanted to get the
Well,
group's
considering they're
opinion.
still the same team as when we ranked them, not really. In my opinion,
Yeah.
still stand. To be honest, I had them ranked that 14th on the list. So that was y'all who had them 12th.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to expect from this team. If Kings fans are gonna look forward to anything, I would assume it's that this team is gonna take the identity of a good team, meaning that like they'll be there in a lot of games and they'll give you the impression that they're competing. Um, but overall, I'm with Kevin. I think the most things that fans should be looking forward to is that trade deadline, and hoping that this squad is able to like look good basically until that point so they can get the most out of these trades because right now it's looking like they're going to finish out with an abysmal like season or not an abysmal season, but it looks like they're not going to do a whole lot and then they're just going to have to basically start back from square one. So that's no fun.
Daniel,
Yeah.
as a Westbrook enthusiast, how do you feel that this could possibly be his last season?
Um, I'm glad you brought this up because part of me wants to do what I did last year and say it's over. because last year I think I basically was like I can't defend this anymore. I was like this is getting so bad. But me saying that obviously didn't have anything to do with Westbrook playing well, but it made my favorite player play better in my head. So I think I'm going to take the same stance and say that he should be done, in just hopes that he continues to play. But one thing I will say is that he's 36. I don't think that his style of play is good for longevity and is good for him. And it doesn't really help any teams right now in the league to have his archetype of player on your squad. And I guarantee some people would like strongly disagree and say, well, he just proved his worth with the Nuggets and stuff. But every year he's getting older, and I think if he is trying to find any kind of success in this league, he needs to develop either like a better three-point shot, or just learn to be selective with his shots a little bit better, like have better shot selection than he does right now, which doesn't seem likely. You can't train an old dog new trick, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So, yeah, I think. I'm with Kevin on this one. I wouldn't want to see him leave the league on bad terms like he is kind of right now, but I also don't want to see him kind of peter out on a team and become Celtic Shaq either. So yeah, I think for me, the best case scenario is that he has a good season with the Kings this year, makes a push, and is able to just retire on a good note. But as for if I think he'll contribute to this team and to winning at all, I don't think so. I don't think that he's going to help them out very much.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see what will happen with the Sacramento Kings and if they get Westbrook and if this will be Westbrook's last season or not. But we're gonna move on to the Knicks are interested in signing Malik Beasley after he was cleared from gambling. So at the beginning of free agency, Malik Beasley was a target of a federal investigation for gambling, but now is no longer a target. Malik Beasley was second and made threes last year behind Anthony Edwards, shooting 41.6% from three. It is now known that the Cavs and the Knicks are among several teams that are interested in signing for him. They can both offer him only a veteran minimum deal, though. How do you guys feel about the Cavs or the Knicks potentially getting Malik Beasley?
Now, if they had a little bit more money to cough up, I would say it would definitely be likely he would go to one of those teams. Because, he wants to contend at the same time he does want to make money. And I think I think it's on his mind. It's time for him to get to the bag pretty much. It was going to be in Detroit. They were going to be happy to bring him back, but everything happened and everyone kind of just decided to move part their own ways. But he's the type of player that can contribute pretty much on any team, winning or losing. I mean, such a big jump last year from previous years, like second most threes in the league. That's insanely impressive considering all of the great shooters we have in the NBA and basically how everyone shoots threes and how important they are to the game. He can contribute on any team. Top of that, he can defend. I think it would be pretty cool to see him go to New York or Cleveland. I actually like him going to either of those teams, but them only being able to offer him a vet minimum at his age is a little crazy to me. I think he's going to want a little bit more than that. I don't know what other teams can offer him or what other teams were looking at him, but it definitely seems like a lot of contenders should and are currently making a push for him. So,
Personally, both teams are in a pretty good position right now to where they don't need a whole lot. And I think if you were to ask both fan bases if they need someone like Malik Beasley, I think the Knicks would be a better fit for them, if that makes sense. Or sorry, for Malik Beasley. So in other words, I would imagine that the Cavs are in a position to win now, and so are the Knicks, obviously. But the Cavs are actually a more, what's the word? Well-oiled machine. It seems like they're at a better point in their journey to becoming a championship team than the Knicks are. And maybe I could be completely off on that, but I think this Knicks roster would do better with a player like Malik Beasley, especially because I had seen that last season in the playoffs, the Knicks were one of like the worst three-point shooting teams. So definitely kind of could help in that area as well. So
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's that's a team that I think could most use him is the Knicks. I think they did a good job this offseason bringing in guys like Jordan Clarkson and Yabusele, just making more bench depth, which they really needed, and getting a guy like Malik Beasley who has a 41% clip and also that many made threes last season would definitely help them out because they were a team that struggled behind the arc. They were only taking 34 attempts per game, which was 27th best in the league last year compared to the Boston Celtics at 48. They also shot 36.9% as a team last season. The Cavs shot 38.3% as a team last season from three. So I definitely think adding him to the team will definitely help them out. And I think it could take them a little bit over that hump and possibly contend for that number one seed. And that I mean that's what the whole goal for the Knicks is trying to get better. And they brought in Mike Brown. I definitely think that they're on the right track.
Yeah. I mean, the past few years, one of their main issues has just been depth in the bench, more specifically the point guard position too. And like you said, bringing in Jordan Clarkson and possibly bringing in Malik Beasley as well. They still have Deuce McBride. They still have campaign. Like that's gonna help with the guards on the Knicks so much because those guys were playing minutes per game. And my big thing with the Knicks at the start of last season was, are they going to be able to hold up without that depth there and the amount of minutes that they're playing? So them going a little bit of a different direction at head coach with Mike Brown and then also building up that bench, they're definitely making a push. I did say in our Eastern Conference rankings, if there's any year the Cavs or Knicks do it, it's got to be this year because some of these other teams are catching up and they're catching up pretty quick. And you know your championship window is only open for so long. So gotta be this year. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't think either of these teams are really gonna have too much of an opportunity 2, 3, 4 years from now to climb the mountain and win the championship. They'll
was
probably end
that
up.
lack of,
I was
sorry.
gonna say they'll probably end up matching up with the Thunder as well, because you know they're on the come up, even though they just won. And you were mentioning lack of. Were you gonna say coaching and something about Tom Thibodeau?
Yeah.
Knew it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, just, I mean, I guess you knew exactly where I was going to go with that. Was that lack of depth because of Tibbs? And do you think Brown is basically going to change that culture kind of to employ more?
No, I mean at the end of the day, Tibbs isn't the one signing and trading the players. He's just playing the cards that he's dealt at that point. And they never had depth. They never really had a solid backup big man. They dealt with injuries a whole lot too. So he was kind of just playing with the cards he dealt. It was funny because I saw a post recently. There was like an anonymous NBA player vote or whatever on who the worst head coach in the league is. And Dante DiVincenzo was telling his Wolves teammates, like, you guys better not put Tibbs. He's one of the best, if not the best. People have
I,
different opinions on him. I don't think people like to play a whole lot of minutes the way he's got them playing. But I don't know. Like I said, played the cards that he dealt. We'll see how Mike Brown does because he was done pretty dirty in Sacramento back then.
yeah, I feel like that's not a very I feel like that's not a very accurate poll for players to vote on who the worst coach is. Just because a lot of guys haven't played for that specific coach that they're going to vote on. And then also the situation is different for every team. I just don't know if that's really accurate.
Yeah. Thing is, he was over at Minnesota with some of those guys over there, and he's been coaching for so long. I mean, he was an assistant when the Celtics won the championship in '08. So I don't really know who played with him over on that team. But yeah, I like Tibbs. Hasn't gotten picked up yet. Knicks are looking solid. I'm trying to imagine Malik Beasley on like Cleveland because whatever team he goes to, he's going to come off the bench, right? And man, him coming off the bench in Cleveland would be nice. Got rid of
Yeah.
Ty Jerome. He went and got paid somewhere else. You have Lonzo Ball coming off the bench, who, when healthy, is an extremely good player. And then coming off the bench with Strus, I imagine possibly even DeAndre Hunter, because I know they do like to start Strus a whole lot too. Sam Merrill too, Dean Wade, those guys can bang. That would be insane if they were able to get Malik Beasley, but I don't see it happening with that little amount of money.
So on the topic of kind of that lack of money and some other teams that may have more, I have here Pistons, Nets, Pacers, and Kings, all of which would have more money and better options, I guess, to throw his way. Do we like any of those?
Pistons only. Just because he was there last year. I think you add him back to that roster, and they even got better this year a little bit too in the offseason. They added more shooting with Duncan Robinson. They added Karis LeVert. They added Javante Green. They re-signed Paul Reed. They lost Tim Hardaway Jr. They lost Dennis Schroeder. They lost Lindy Waters, and they lost Simone Fontecchio. So I definitely think there's going to be room for him to play on the team, and I just think it would be the best spot for him to develop with those guys still, and he still has a chemistry with them. And the other situations, it's just like the Pacers would be cool to see him there too, but I think just with his chemistry already being on the Pistons, I think that would be the best spot for him.
Yeah, I know they were ready to give him a pretty decent extension too. I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 year, north of 20 million. But since they kind of moved on from him and signed some other pieces, I don't think even they're able to give him that money anymore. I remember seeing a report that I think they can only offer him vet minimum now, or even just like a couple million a year, like 4 or 5 million. And I'm saying that like it's not a lot of money, but I think you understand what point I'm getting at here. So I don't know. The teams that Daniel mentioned, I don't like any of them other than Detroit, but they've already moved on from him. So I don't know. I can't really see them being like, oh, you passed. Yeah, come back, actually. You're not going to get as much money, but at least you'll be back in Detroit. The other teams, they're just not ready to win. Yeah, he can get paid more, but you're going to be now if he wants to go ahead and just sit in the corner while MPJ and Cam Thomas just take turns doing whatever the hell it is they're going to do this year, then more power to you.
Yeah, I'll just really quick give a team I would like to see. I would like to see him on the Pacers. You know, give Tyrese a year to recover from that injury, and we go into, I say we like it's my team, but Pacers fans can, you know, sleep tight after this season, knowing that going into next season they have an elite shooter still possibly there in Malik Beasley. So I think out of all those that grouping of teams, I would like to see the Pacers, but
Yeah, Pacers would be cool.
It's cool. Orlando, possibly even, because one of their things was 3-point shooting, and they did go ahead and get Desmond Bain, which is going to help a little bit. But one guy isn't going to make a drastic difference like that. Now, when you get Desmond Bain and the guy that was a runner-up for most threes in the league, that's where things start to get a little spooky. Toronto could be a solid one. Some people are high on them, some aren't, and yeah.
so he's
Many
got
teams
options.
So,
I
yeah,
also
I'm sure he'll go to any team, but does any team want him?
Well,
there's a lot of teams.
San
I-
Antonio. I like San Antonio a lot, considering they have a lot of point guards. It's pretty much all they have. Not like they need any more guards, but he come off the bench in San Antonio would be pretty nice.
No, yeah, I do like that. One question that I don't remember if I put in here or not, was, let's see. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm trying to see. Well, I remember basically what it says. It basically says that his attorneys said that while the investigation is over, it did unveil some like unflattering other bets that he was making, or sorry, some debts that he had acquired. So I guess like my question or my follow up with this topic is, do we think realistically that's kind of the only reason why he's not getting picked up yet, is because teams are kind of still hesitant to put a guy that, has this stuff still kind of floating out there, relevant to him or attached to him.
As far as personal debts, to me, that sounds like a personal issue. And teams shouldn't be too heavily involved with it. Now, if it's personal debts that he's trying to pay off, maybe that's why he's not signing the teams for a vet minimum. That would make a lot of sense. But yeah, man, as far as it goes, players just need to stop gambling and stop getting involved with that BS. You're already millionaires. It's just stupid because look what it does to your career. You have a career year and then you do all this. You're about to get paid. And that's always when it happens. That's always when it catches up to people. They get away with it for so long. They keep getting away with it. Things start to look good. And then, boom, we got you right when it was really about to take off. He was right there.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I definitely think it is a problem for teams looking to sign him just because you don't know if it's fully clear yet. And there's definitely a risk with him signing there, and then you sign him, and the start of the season, you find out he could get potentially banned from the NBA, like we saw with Jonte Porter. But I mean, it seems like this situation is a lot different. I mean, there's sources saying that he's under the rate or under investigation still, and then there's some saying that he's cleared. We still don't know, so I don't know.
Yeah, what I had seen is that he was cleared, but the number that was associated with the debt that he owed was $5 million to one person. And it was just like a name, or I don't think they could disclose the name, but it was like just one loan, I think, or something, one debt that he's accumulated over the last few years.
A small loan of $5 million.
He owns Bill $5 million. For what? We have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. These guys gotta stop gambling. And I remember when all this was getting released, I would see the ticks on TikTok of people like putting together compilations of like, yo, maybe this dude actually was throwing games. And you could like see him like rushing to get a basket with like 3 seconds left. And it just looks so bad. It just does not look good in his favor. And it's like, oh, dude, like, how do you argue against that?
Okay, but my thing about that is you can put that for any player, I feel like. You can just look up bad highlights and say they're throwing a game.
People were saying that the biggest theory that I saw was in their last game of the year when they lost to New York and the ball went through his hands to hit the game-winning shot. People are saying that he did that on purpose because he was wide open, best three-point shooter in the league this year. Game on the line, we're going to you. He goes to catch the ball and it just goes straight through his hands. Now that's a little fishy. It had me thinking a little bit. I was like, I don't know, man.
I'll say the video that I think Kevin, there's a couple of videos, but one of the ones of the videos that Kevin's referencing was like really bad because you watch him, I think it was against like Philly or something. You watch him like get the ball at the other side of the court, look up at the timer, and then start on a dead sprint towards the other side of the basket. No one's moving, no one's running, and finishes the lay as the buzzer's going off. Like Victor said, there are a lot of players I think that you could go back and watch all the clips and be like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. But when it's this many clips, and then you also have, like Kevin said, the incident, and you have people kind of building these narratives around you, dude, like, I mean, I don't know. It looks bad for sure. It does not look good.
Money is the root of all evil. Look what it does. Look what it did to Miles.
Yeah, Miles actually couldn't be here today because he's chasing a bag. He's chasing money.
But yeah, I mean, one thing I want to ask really quick is if Malik Beasley does sign to the Knicks in the offseason that they had, does this put them ahead of the Cavaliers?
No. I think it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for them playing pretty much. I'm expecting like a brand new version of basketball for the Knicks next year. I don't think we're going to see Coach Tibbs, Jalen Brunson, ISO ball fourth quarter style, whatever the hell that was. They're going to be a lot deeper. They have a new head coach, so it's going to take a little bit to get adjusted. Mike Brown's great, but it takes time. On top of that, they're still building chemistry a lot with like Cat and Mikal. They've only had those guys for a full year. Like that stuff takes time. The Cavs also did have a pretty good offseason. They looked unstoppable last year. I think Mobley is going to take an even bigger step this upcoming season. Same with guys like DeAndre Hunter. And they got one of the best coaches in the league. I just feel like they're just still like 1 or 2 steps ahead of the Knicks. So I still got Knicks at 1. Still have Knicks at 2 and Cavs at 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I don't really want to go against the consensus if that's what we came to. But I like I said earlier, I think the Knicks need him more than like the Cavs would. And for that reason, I think him going to that team would make them a little bit better and would subsequently make them beat the Cavs in a playoff scenario. I don't really know how to like really detail this, but I would just say that the Cavs are a fairly newer team or a younger team with not a lot of experience and in like high stakes situations like playoffs or, a championship game, for example. But I think the Knicks are in a better position to compete in that nature. I feel like they're going to be more competitive. No, not competitive. I don't want to say that because the Cavs are perfectly competitive. Um, but but yeah, I guess I just think that adding an elite shooter to a team that, kind of already has that as one of their issues when there aren't that many issues to take care of means that they'll be better off than the Cavs would. So yeah, that's where I land. What about you, Vic?
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be Cavs number 1, Knicks number 2. I feel like the Cavs were such a great team last season, and we know how Donovan Mitchell is in the regular season. He is similar to Jamal Murray playoffs, similar to um I had another comparison but I forgot it. But anyways, Donovan Mitchell is really good in the playoff or regular season, and we know what that Cavs team did last year. I think they're gonna continue to do great things. They're coached by Kenny Atkinson, who I think is a great head coach. So I think they're gonna do the same thing, be number 1 seed. Knicks are gonna be number 2 this year. But I think what Kevin said earlier was a great point. Was if there's any season for the Knicks or the Cavs to win the title, it is this one. Just because how wide open the East is for them to win, with a lot of teams being injured, with the Pacers and Celtics, and also a lot of teams are catching up to them. For example, the Magic, Pistons. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Heard.
But yeah, for our final topic today, we have the Celtics are looking to move on from Anfernee Simons after the offseason in an effort to cut salary costs to stay below the NBA's second luxury tax apron. The move will likely take place well before the trade deadline on February 6th. And the 76ers and Nuggets have expressed interest in acquiring Anfernee Simons. This is actually something we had on our bingo card. I believe Miles was the one who put this, that he was saying that Anfernee Simons won't be on the team by the trade deadline.
I was gonna say he did call that pretty good since they're already shopping for him, and I think he pretty much hit it on the head when he said it. He said, "I think bringing in Simons was strictly just like a money issue, just get more affordable players and more affordable pieces, and then kind of just deal them off for something younger or newer." But as far as teams he can go to, I don't really like Denver or Philadelphia. Denver, I just don't feel like they have anything to give up. I mean, they have like Julian Strother, they have like Peyton Watson. I can't even some of the other guards that they might have if that's even what Boston's looking for. But like Christian Brown's off limits, Cam Johnson's off limits. Obviously, Aaron Gordon is off limits. I just don't really think it's a best fit for him, Denver, or really just anybody here. And then you look at Philly, it's like, well, they already have like a bunch of guards. They got Lowry still. I don't even know if they have Lowry still. I don't know why I just mentioned his name. Now I just gave myself a brain fart. But they got the 2 young guards in Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe. Again, it's like, how much value is he really going to add there? We have no idea what the heck Joel Embiid is doing this year and how Paul George is looking. So I would like to see him go elsewhere, maybe. I mean, I don't know if this dude is dead set on being a starter in the league, but maybe like off the bench for Houston or something. That was just a very random scenario and team I just pulled, but Golden State, maybe they could use some scoring.
Be Orlando.
Orlando, yeah. he could run point over there. I know they're pretty big on Suggs, and I really like how he plays because they'd be giving up a lot of defense.
Milwaukee needs a guard, but looking at the Celtics, I probably wouldn't want to trade with Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get much in return. Lakers have Reeves and Luka, and that's about it. Unless they want him, or I'm surprised the Lakers' name haven't come up in any of these trade talks, especially the one for Beasley.
Oh,
they already gave him a chance. I forgot, but I don't know. Like, what are like some young teams he could go to that he could possibly like help, like Charlotte or something? Him and LaMelo.
Yeah.
No, but they just got Sexton this past offseason.
You're right.
I don't think the Charlotte Hornets could use him.
Toronto again?
Yeah, you know what? Toronto, I actually kind of like that. Just if say for example, if they Toronto got rid of Emmanuel quickly, I think that would be decent. But I still think Quickly is a good player as well.
Yeah, I do like Quickly a lot for them. It's just he has such a specific style of play, and it's not like he's like super elite at it. So it's so hard to like fit him in like teams. Like he's not a guy you can just like pick up and insert somewhere and say, hey, like go do good. Like to me, it just doesn't really work that way for him. I mean, like I mentioned, maybe come off the bench for the Rockets, give some points, but they already got Reed Shepherd, who's probably going to take a big step for them and back up Fred. I would say maybe Miami. They could. I know they were really wanting Dame, but like this is close enough. Yeah.
I think another option that would be good for them, or good for a team actually, is the Dallas Mavericks, just because they have a lot of players that they're not going to be using or being able to play minutes because of how deep they are. So I think if you trade him there because Kyrie's out for half the season, you got D'Lo starting, and then you got Max Christie. I think will be playing the backup point guard, unless I'm forgetting the guy right now. But I think if you trade pieces like maybe Najee Marshall or Caleb Martin, I think they can afford to lose some of those guys, and getting Anfernee Simons in return could be pretty good. I know that's not probably the perfect trade value scenario, but I'm just saying Dallas has pieces that they can move around and get rid of.
I really don't want Dallas to touch anything. I would hate if they traded Najee Marshall for Anfernee Simons. I feel like Najee Marshall is so good for that team, and he fits such a good role for them. I'd hate to see them make it. But yeah, dude, as far as like teams for Simons, it's kind of like Westbrook in this scenario. He doesn't fit in a whole lot of places. Like if you just want to stack him with a young guard and just see what he can do, yeah, sure. Like look at teams like Brooklyn, or look at whoever else, a team like Charlotte, maybe Orlando, Memphis. Like it's kind of hard to imagine like a team for him to go to. And just like, what's this guy even worth in a trade? You asking for first round picks? You asking for like young and up and coming talent, guys with a lot of upside? Like when it comes to NBA trades, you don't really know what anybody is worth, because we've seen guys like Rudy Gobert get all those first round draft picks, and then you see Luka and you didn't even get a single first round draft pick. Like it's so hard to tell what he's worth. I feel like if we see Anthony Simons get traded, it's going to be like one of those insane trades. It's like, oh yeah, the Celtics traded Simons, got 3 first round picks and a Ferrari.
That's funny. No, I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry. Go ahead, Vic, if you have something.
I was gonna say, so when this move first happened, when the Celtics got Anfernee Simons and 2 picks back for Drew Holiday, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I could not believe that they got this, but it is smart, knowing the Celtics, how good of a front office they have, and how they consistently find ways to get them to top of the Eastern Conference and making good playoff runs, it's not surprising that they're making a move like this with trying to move Anfernee Simons already. They're playing chess while everybody is playing checkers. Um, I would like to see Anfernee Simons on a team where he could actually fit, like Kevin said, but I think he has potential to be a good player in this league. I could see him being an all-star. Last season he was averaging 19.3 points, 4.8 assists, 2.7 rebounds on 36% from three and 42% from the field. I just feel like there's a lot of potential. He's only I think he's only 25, 26 years old. So I would hate to see his talent wasted.
I feel
I will
like he's
say
had so much potential for like so many years now. But thinking about it now, I'm kind of liking this Warriors trade idea because if valued correctly, if Boston can somehow find a way to deal Anfernee Simons and get like Jonathan Kuminga back, now that would be pretty dang cool if they're somehow able to muscle that up.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I didn't hate the Mavericks trade either, even though what I did hate about it was exactly what Kevin hated, which is that the Mavericks would have to change something about themselves, which is like, don't, like I think that's kind of the position that every fan of the Mavericks is going off of. It's like, just don't touch anything. Wait till Kyrie comes back, then you can decide to blow it up or do whatever you want to do. But we need to see it until then. Um, so I would definitely, especially, when we talk about his splits, he's a good player. He can contribute to teams. It's just about where he's going to end up. And Warriors could use him. Pods is good, but to be honest with you guys, I don't understand why people are so hot on Pods, like as if he has, like if he's like as if he's untradeable. Um, I think he's honestly one of those guys that could definitely be replaced, and I definitely think Simons could make a difference on the Warriors.
Yeah, you definitely don't remember my opinions on pods. Based off of your last statement, I'm not going to get into it because I always find a way to. So I'm just going to look that over. But yeah, like I mentioned, he's a hard player to kind of find a deal for. Like I said, maybe Memphis. If Boston sees a lot in KCP and they feel like he could be decent for them whenever he comes back, whenever Tatum and they get all their guys back, so be it. We can watch John Morant and Anfernee Simons try to hoop together or something. But yeah, it's going to be difficult to trade Simons. He doesn't fit a whole lot of places, so I'm interested to see what Brad Stevens cooks up. But hey, guy knows ball. He always makes stuff happen. So I think it could be. They could get some. They're going to get something pretty good for him.
Do you guys see him playing a couple of games with the Celtics? I mean, yeah, obviously, but like how many do we see him?
I think he'll be there till at least the deadline. If anything, I don't think he's going to get traded before the season ends or anything.
Yeah. Is there a potential that they love him? No, right? I think I brought this up in the ranking too.
I mean,
Maybe not.
yeah, I mean, if he's playing really good for them, I think there's a possibility that they change their minds. He's still a good player in the league. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't change their minds.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm not. If he comes out next season, he's averaging 30. Yeah, they're gonna love him. But it seems like when they got him, they already had a predetermined plan for him, and how they're going to approach this situation. So they got a plan in mind. I don't really see them going away from it. No one has any idea when Tatum's going to return. I think at the earliest he can return is like January, February. But they got a plan for him. Who knows? Maybe they send him to the pits of hell to get something, which happens a lot.
Yeah,
What
what were you saying?
I was just gonna ask what the pits of hell would be like the Clippers, but go ahead.
The Clippers? No, man. I think that would be
I'm just kidding. I know your opinions on the Clippers. I like
probably
them.
Jazz would be the pits of hell right now.
Yeah.
But I
There's
was
a
gonna
couple
say,
teams.
like, the teams that we mentioned, Nuggets and 76ers, the 76ers have a problem with money because in order for it to work, they would need to send out $19 million for any trade for Simons to work under the NBA rules, and that would require at least moving 4 of their players and taking on additional money from Boston for it to make on both sides. And then the Nuggets, I think we said it earlier, is like there's no really way they'll trade any of their key role players that they have with Cam Johnson or Aaron Gordon or Christian Brown for it to work. And then they just got a ton of good pieces in the offseason with Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, and Jonas Valanciunas. I just don't really see that as realistic.
Yeah,
He'll end
between
up
those
somewhere.
two teams. Yeah, he will. But between those two teams, I think I would more so lean towards him going to Philly, just because, like you said, I mean, the Nuggets are another very complete team in terms of they don't need a player archetype like Simons. But Philly is just so bad because, like, when I say it's a better situation for him, like, yeah, he'll probably go there and do well, but his career will probably also be over in like 3 years just because of how badly ran that organization is. It's not even badly run because they have great players on their roster right now. It's actually more of just my hatred for Joel Embiid, I think, seeping out and knowing that the player issues that kind of encompass that whole situation will inevitably make it a bad destination for Simons. But he could work well there, I guess, if I had to pick between those two teams.
I don't think Philly's that poorly ran. I think they just held on to Embiid too long
Yeah,
because
that's what I
they've
mean.
hit on their draft picks, I feel like, and they have been getting the top draft picks as well. So they've definitely been getting lucky. And just unlucky in other areas with Joel Embiid just not being healthy at all. That's really what's been taking their value. And if they really release him, I think, and try to rebuild around that roster, they could have something. But it's going to be really hard to replace a center like Embiid.
Yeah. He's also kind of getting a little bit up there in age too. Like I said, this guy might be forced to medically retire at some point in his career because he just cannot stay on the floor. Honestly, as far as other teams, I like to see Simons on. Could see him in Orlando get packaged up for like Jalen Suggs and some of the younger guys, or maybe even New Orleans package up Jordan Poole and someone else to Boston. I feel like Boston could find really good ways to use Jordan Poole, and Pelicans being a young squad, having Simons be their point guard could also be solid. But other than that, it's really hard for me to imagine to go to any of these other teams I'm looking at, and even harder for the other two teams that we just talked about.
But all right, I think that's going to be the end of today's episode. Comment down your guys' thoughts and where you guys think some of these guys will land or if they will get traded / signed. But make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and make sure to subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to make sure you don't miss an episode. Also, subscribe on YouTube and check us out on all our social media so you can stay updated with what we're posting. And please give us a rating, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.